This for the queens, sisters manifesting their dreams. Get your cream by any means and beam with self-esteem. Beauty supreme and Buddha walk so mean. The way you fit in them jeans, you eat your cornbread and greens. Dance or a doctor, red wine or vodka. Redesign your spot and redefine your mantra. Retwist your locks and realign your chakras. Doing your squats and getting closer to God, huh? Brunching with your squad or taking a girl's trip. Adjust your crown, you God's gift to the world, sis. Celestial body, drink your water. Meditate, sun-kissed goddess, heavenly order. Levitate, tribe of Ashanti, black girl magic, melanin popping, whether you ratchet or lavish, whether you bougie or savage, you a gift and a treasure. You got to love a black girl getting a shift together. Black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, man. These black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, dog.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together is a podcast about mental health and wellness, as well as self-empowerment for Black women. I'll help you chase that fire from within. I'm your host, Ursula, and each week I'll deliver relevant topics and resources that affect our community. So just remember, once we identify the problem is when we can start to heal. Welcome to season 2. Thank you for returning. I'm so excited. As you know, it's with season 2. It's a new look. I have new resources, some new guests, and some returning like we have on. He's in the waiting room right now. But before I bring him on, I'm going to just mention that our upcoming guests, since February, I hear February is a month of love. So we're going to be dealing with a lot of topics dealing with love and then the body issues. But you have to tune in on February for that. And the next show is February 1st at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Dr. Sandra Ford. But you have to tune in to see what kind of doctor she is. It's not what you think. Also, February 1st is the first day of our challenge. And you may ask, well, what kind of challenge it is? You're going to have to go onto my social media. Everything, social media is Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. You have to check in on my social media, and I will announce what that challenge is on February 1st. So once you get that, I want you to share it. This is really good. All right. So I want everybody to let me know that you're here. I want you to type where you're tuning in from. I want you to say hello. And if it's replay, definitely type replay so that I know. And start a watch party. I won't be mad if you do that either. And when you comment, like I said before, I appreciate you all getting in my inbox and getting on my phone. But it's really great if you comment and let's get this together during the live podcast. It will help podcasters a lot. So we are done with that. Right now, I am going to check in with my guest. I'm going to bring him out of the waiting room. His name is Derrick Jones, and he is a relationship and life coach, and he is the podcaster of Relationship Gumbo. If you want to know anything about him, I want you to go into the show notes, or if you're watching this while it's streaming live, I have his link connected. So you can just click right on it. I'm going to bring Derrick into this broadcast.
Hey, I'm back.
Hey, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here.
Glad that you decided to come on. Oh, you know what? I guess it will be, people are going to think you are Melissa iPhone. I forgot.
Oh.
So, I know, right? So, everyone, yes, all the promos had therapists, the beautiful Melissa Eiffel, but she had to reschedule. She is coming back. I will keep you all on board when we are going to get that synchronized. But you know what? You got to always go back to old reliable, and someone, it's always good to have good people in your corner because they come through when you can't. And you're looking at that man right now. So
That's me.
that's why Derrick is here. You know, you got to bring somebody on who can bring it no matter what. We're not gonna, I won't say wing it, because we both do what we do very well. But Derrick suggested a topic, and because he is the relationship coach, I was on board with no problem. And it's about taking your mask off. So, Derrick, hey, Jerry Jean, do you know him? I don't know him.
Her.
Hey, Jerry. Hey, girl. So, Jerry, if you can imagine this, you see a bunch of people walking in the streets and they're having a good time and they're laughing and they're kissing and they're wearing their mask and they have beads on and everybody's just celebrating and feeling festive and just loving each other. And as Derrick says, having all the feels. And they have these beautiful adorned masks with the feathers on it and glitter and all of that. Jerry, where do you think they are? Type it in the comments. Derrick, while we're waiting on some people to answer that question, can you tell some people about yourself? Give us a little bio.
Yeah. So like she said, I'm a life and relationship coach. I'm also the host of the Relationship Gumbo Podcast. So I do the coaching. I also do the podcasting, but in the slogan of my business and my brand is better relationships need better ingredients, because everybody's, we all come with our stuff and we got to mix it together and stir it up and hope it works. And sometimes you got to add a little bit more salt, put some stuff in, take some stuff out. And so what I do is I look at all of the pieces and I help you put them together so it'll make sense, so we can stop making these decisions that keep us in these spirals of despair and trauma and all these other kind of things. So I just kind of help you out with those things. So that's essentially what I do.
I love that you said that keeps us in the cycle of trauma, because that's what it is. Their relationship trauma is real.
Yep.
So what were you about to say, sir?
No, I was about to say relationship trauma. It's not discussed as much as we would like for it to be, but it is the one place where we make ourselves probably the most vulnerable, but we don't really give it as much attention as it does, because when you're in something that uses that much emotion and that much vulnerability, a lot of times the other parts of our lives, we don't give that much of ourselves. So by definition, if you're the most vulnerable there, it's also the place where you may experience the most hurt. So it's kind of like, yeah.
So we're going to put a pin in that. We're going to return to that. Back to the festive area. Where do you think these people are with wearing these masks?
It has to be New Orleans, or however you say it.
That's what everybody would think. However, I am going to ask Derrick, as the relationship coach, where are they for real, Derrick?
If they're wearing a mask, and I don't know, a masquerade ball, I don't know, unless you're
relationship wise,
probably on the first date. I don't know.
I would say so too, but
yeah,
people, you think that it would be New Orleans, but it is most of your everyday relationships, how we wear our mask.
Yep.
And they can be so adorned. And we're going to unpin what Derrick just said about the vulnerability. And can you tell people what it looks like to wear a mask in a relationship?
Well, a lot of times what we do, like a lot of times, you hear people talking about, when you first meet the person, it's the representative, right? That could be a mask that people put on based on what they assume you want to see from them, instead of actually like being themselves and letting you kind of fall for that. They put on the mask and hope that the mask attracts you. But the downside to that is, if the person is falling in love with the representative, then the real you always has to stay in a cage. And how long can you keep that up, right? That's just the beginning, right? Now let's pretend and I don't want to go too far in it before we kind of break and like do it however you want to segment it out, but that's in the beginning, right? Once you get into a relationship, let's say you came in the beginning and you was your true self and you didn't have the representative. Everybody was there with themselves. You fall in love and you get into the relationship. Then you also now have to look at how are you treating each other? Because we know it's not always just smooth sailing. And then if the communication is wrong.
Excuse me, let me ask you this though. What do you mean how everybody's treating each other in the relationship?
Meaning
that for some people?
Yeah, so the things that we don't see is while we're in that honeymoon stage, we may not necessarily see the arguments in the let's say you start living with somebody, those things that just piss you off, you have reactions to them. And if you don't have effective communication tools, you may say something that may hurt the other person unknowingly, and then the other person could address it, or they can retreat because they don't want the confrontation, but y'all still together. And so if you're having this discourse, on the outside, you look happy, but on the inside, it hurts. And sometimes when things hurt and you don't want the confrontation, but you want the illusion of happiness, you have to put on the happy mask inside the relationship. Even though you didn't lead with the representative, you eventually become that person because you would want in a perfect world for everything to seem happy. So it's like happiness without confrontation equals you wearing a mask, because it's not like you really want to tell the person, hey, this hurt my feelings, especially men. We're not going to tell y'all that. We just
Why don't you all tell us? Just curious. I'm a woman, so.
Because we're not conditioned to share in that way, right? So if me telling you hurt my feelings in our minds because of how we're conditioned, right or wrong, it taps into your vulnerability. We're taught to show you strength. So I'm not going to show you I'm weak and I'm supposed to be your man. That's the psychology behind it. It's wrong as hell, but that's how we're conditioned. So when we do that and we keep hiding it from you, by definition, I'm just showing you that I'm cool, but I'm really not. On the inside, I'm resentful as hell. I'm hurt as hell.
And you probably will lash out. There's always a trickle-down effect with that.
Sometimes it comes out as anger. Sometimes it comes out in some drastic behavior changes that they'll gaslight you and tell you everything cool. And it's like you going out 4 nights a week. Like, that's new. What's going on? It may not be another woman. It's behavior because they don't feel like they have a safe place in the house. It's a lot of reasons. But that becomes the mask you wear because you have to come home and say everything's cool. That's the mask.
And since we are in the current age of COVID, as you know, everybody is wearing a mask. Mm-hmm. So everyone knows if you wear any kind of mask too long, it does become uncomfortable. Unless you're someone like myself, for my full-time job, I must wear a mask. But because I've been wearing a mask for 20 years, literally, not into relationships, but now we're having to double and triple mask. Yeah, that's uncomfortable. After 8 hours of work, and don't let me go to a store after. So now we're in the 10, 12 hours of wearing a mask.
Yeah.
That's a lot. It can wear on any woman.
It's a lot. And the thing about it is, whatever the reason is that you're wearing a mask, it gives you the illusion of peace because you're not confronting anymore, but you're also losing parts of yourself the longer you go with it on, because you're not. And this is the thing, and a lot of us have been through this, including myself. But by definition, you're afraid to share with the person that you live with, the person that you're supposed to love. I'm afraid to talk to you. That's how you know something's wrong.
Right.
Like you went through the whole courting, dating, all of that. You know, we've been together for X amount of months or years. The moment where you feel afraid to talk to that person, that's the green light to go, hey, or the red flag to go, hey, wait, something's wrong. And normally what happens is when that person realizes something's wrong and they bring it up to the other party, male or female, the other party might be like, man, you tripping. We good. And then now, if you keep pressing the issue, they trying to figure out where this energy coming from because they think everything's good.
Right.
And when that confrontation happens, you can keep fighting your case, or you can retreat and put the mask on so you don't have to feel like that again. This is the plight. And I'm not saying woman, man, right, wrong. I'm saying this is the plight of a lot of men, because we rather tell you we good than to go through how that feels. We're going to pretend we whatever, but it don't feel good to any human being when you being yelled at or when you being chastised, because it feels like mommy and daddy talking to a grown person. So instead of you saying, didn't you take the trash out? It's like, dude, you left the trash out again? You didn't take it out? Hold on, the tone sounds like mommy. So what am I going to do? I'm going to either fight you or I'm going to be like, okay, let me go ahead and get it. Did it hurt my feelings? Yes, but you'll never know that.
So let me ask you this. This is just an asterisk. Why won't y'all take the damn trash out the first time we asked? Damn.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
Women, ladies,
let me
if
give
you
you
want
some.
to relate to that,
let me give you
tell
some
me
context.
something.
Let me give you some context, right? A lot of men. Let me give you a couple of scenarios, okay?
Please.
Scenario A. A lot of times, it's not our first priority when we walk in the house, right? We know it's supposed to be done. Sometimes it slips.
Fair.
And triggered. It's not an excuse, but sometimes we go through stuff during the day. But guess what? Because we're men, we can't say I'm depressed. I can't say I'm stressed out. I got to take little Johnny to play to the football game, right? Then it's like you wake up in the morning, you be like, oh crap, the trash. But before you can get that out, why the hell didn't you take the trash out? You forgot. Now it becomes a thing. Because the other side is like, he forgot. You forgot. He's not going to come out and be like, you know what, babe, I wasn't feeling myself today. I'm going through it. That don't happen. You won't hear that. Not from most of us. What you're going to hear is, all right, I'm going to go ahead and do it now. That's all you're getting. Sound familiar?
Hell yeah. Look, so Christina, she said, boy, you better teach.
The reason why I do what I do is because if you don't peel back the layers, we're just going to keep going through. Because this is the thing. This is what we all know. If you was in a group of women, doesn't matter how many, and y'all are all married, y'all have a lot of similar stories. Even though y'all men don't know each other, you have a lot of similar stories. The same thing goes with men. You put a whole bunch of married men in the room, our complaints will be almost identical. And we'll be like,
curious. Just give me a couple of scenarios.
Oh, here we go.
Break man code. I want to hear it. And the other ladies on this live want to hear it too. I'm not saying your situation. I'm just saying if we are in the barbershop and come on, give me that same energy that you just was flowing with. We need to know this.
You know why I'm reacting this way.
I do. Let's get it.
But I'm gonna tell you some things that I heard.
Yes, just what you heard.
Somebody put an ear up there. So let's say, for an example, right? Things that I've heard that are common amongst a lot of men is they'll say things like, you know, I just wanted to chill, but she kept bugging me, right? Now, here's the context. You might be bugging him about something that you probably asked him to do several times, right? But in the context of us not sharing with you that we may be going through stuff and we need to, in that moment, even though you have a legitimate beef, you're messing with my peace, right? Now, right or wrong, this is how we think. Because if you listen to men, not just me, they'll say, I need my peace. I need my peace of mind. You'll hear this from like most men you talk to, but then you say, well, why didn't you just do what you were supposed to do? Because in our minds, we compartmentalize how we feel above the task, but we don't share how we feel. So you never know where the behavior comes from, and that causes the conflict.
Yeah, that seems like it's a bifold of selfishness.
It's selfish in itself because we are trained not to share with you why we are feeling the way we're feeling. I'm not saying it's right. I've had to evolve past that, but we don't share how we feel. So all you see is the reaction and the action to those emotions. We have the same emotions you do. We just don't tell you about it. All you see is the action. I'm not going to tell you I'm weak today. I feel like shit. I'm depressed. I'm stressed out. I can't take the kids today. I gotta sit down and get my mind together. You're not going to hear that. That's just how it is. And unfortunately, the only information you have as a woman is that he's not moving fast enough. Does he not care? That's what happens.
Okay, we're going to keep it real right now.
Let's keep it real.
Let me ask you this. Latasha said, stop blaming mama and papa. My girl has shown up. Because
a woman would hear my voice. Like I do this every day. You'll hear my voice and you'll say, you're just making excuses. But my thing is it if you say, like people have told me when I say men are conditioned to be predators, men are conditioned to not share emotions, they'll say you're making an excuse. Whether it's an excuse or not, it plays out in everyday life. So is it really an excuse that we hide it? Or maybe sometimes the behavior that comes along with the emotions may be a lie. It may be that's where the problem is. It's a lack of emotional intelligence.
I would agree with that. Definitely the lack of emotional intelligence. It's definitely
because at the end of the day, y'all are pissed off at the behavior that comes behind it because you're like, he's a really good guy. I know he loves me. Why would he not do that? Why would he choose to stay, downstairs for 3 hours and he's just chilling? Like, you don't understand it. And then the man would get pissed off because he may be dealing with, and I'm not saying that this is why, I'm just saying sometimes we deal with stuff and we don't want you involved in it. We just want to be able to get a drink, sit in a chair, and that's how we deal with our emotions. We don't share it with you. It sucks.
Well, okay. It does suck. And as a female, it just sometimes it baffles us with that same energy that you all coming home, wanting some sex, that same energy y'all seem to muster it up, but we just ask for that trash. I mean, of course, trash is just the symbolic of what there's much deeper than that, but where does that come from?
So here's the answer. You ready? Think about...
Wait. If you all want to hear it, he's going to tell us. Put some ear emojis up on that. Latasha said, take a bubble bath.
So think about it like this, right? Think about how most little boys, heterosexual, what we're trained society and culturally, like even just in our friend circle when we grow up. Conquer as many women as possible. Sleep with as many women as possible. And if you do so, you'll be rewarded because we will pat you on the back and say, that a boy. When you get enough that a boys, it becomes a part of your reward system, right? Sex is a part of that, right? So even in a relationship, if I'm feeling a certain way or not, part of my reward system to make me feel better is what? Damn the trash. We're trained this way. That's why a lot of times when men are really like emotionally unstable, they don't go chill. They go fuck. It sucks, but it's our reward system. We have to conquer to make us feel good. When we're in a relationship, all of that's supposed to be muted down But if I feel like I'm in distress, it's just like when men break up and they're like, man, I broke up with her. They're not gonna be like, man, all right, man, let's talk it out. They're gonna be like, man, let's go to the strip club. That's how men are programmed. We don't help each other cope.
No.
So you're going for the attaboy that you got when you were 16. It makes no sense, but that's the psychology behind it. I wish it was different.
Let me read a comment from Christina. She said, I just heard something though. Men put the emotion above the task. Wow. Women will do the task while carrying the emotion.
And
so
that's
different.
Facts. That is facts. That's facts. Because this is the thing, right? And I had to make this evaluation of myself because I've been guilty of not taking the trash out probably over the past couple of decades. It happens. And so what happens is this is how we think. Let's say the trash is supposed to be taken out 100 different days out of the year, right? If I do it 90 times and I forget 10 times, my indictment is going to be on the 10, right? And those 10 times, you know I'm right. And most men aren't forgetting the trash 99 times. If they're a decent dude, they're not going to forget almost every time. Get it? So when I forget, and you know it's supposed to be done, this is not every woman, but a lot of women are programmed. My man is supposed to handle that. So if I choose not to do that, that's going against your opinion of what I'm supposed to do as a man. You're going to be pissed. Why the hell? Shouldn't he know as a man, as a real man? He's supposed to know he's supposed to take out the trash. You will never hear how my day went for real. I'm going to say, man, it was all right. My day was cool. How was your day? And I'm going to go sit on the couch. And you're like, man, I'm over here washing the dishes. You on the couch. We're prioritizing the emotion over the task. Like she said, I want to feel peaceful before I can think about doing the task versus knowing the task is supposed to be done and getting it done and then relaxing. I want to relax. For how many dudes want to come home and sit on the couch? And you're like, man, I just worked 40 hours just like you. I still got to cook dinner. He's like, man, just give me a minute. Because we're prioritizing the emotion first. We're different.
Wow. Latasha said, my girlfriend's husband put down a new kitchen floor, saved money, and made one square upside down. Oh boy.
That's my point.
All I will
That's
say.
what the hell I'm talking about. And here's the thing. When you do that, after he put down all of the tile, that one was upside down and it pissed you off, you are now creating another point of disconnection because you're a woman. I'm not going, like some men do, but I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to I'm not going to physically fight you and I'm not going to have a shouting match with you. So I'm going to just be like, all right. Let me just go ahead and do it so I can shut you up. Why do I need to shut you up so bad? Because I need to have peace.
Which is another layer of a mask, right?
Yes.
That's what that is.
Here's the thing. Here's the evolution of the mask. The more you disconnect with me, the more if I plan on staying with you, we got kids, whatever, however the relationship is, if I hate the confrontation, I have to turn into someone who is a master at knowing what's going to piss you off so I can duck and dodge it. But if I become that person, I'm losing a part of myself because I can't even be real with you anymore because I know you're going to flick off. And women do it too.
Yeah, you know what? I was going to say that. Women do it also. And that's where one of the many facets of that superwoman complex is the same. Superwoman complex, wearing a mask, it's the same thing. Let me read a comment and then I want to ask you a question. Guys, Sean said she likes what you said and that brothers need to do.
That's a he.
Oh, hey.
These are my folks coming in.
Look, my brothers and sisters, this our names. You never know. My apologies, guys, Mr. Coates. He also said brothers need to do nothing time real quick. I don't know
that do nothing time, that chill out, just leave me alone. We need that quick. Like before we do anything else, we need to. Because here's the thing. Here's the unspoken thing, right? And if you've been with a worthless piece of crap dude, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about just regular everyday dudes. women go through a lot of stress and pressure, right? But men, we go through mentally, like if he's a stand-up guy, he has the pressure of having to be the provider, the protector, the make sure that I bring home the bacon type of dude. And I got to make sure that I'm emotionally there for you if you having issues. I got to make sure that I'm the man of the house for the kids. I got to make sure that I'm doing all of that. And I got to go to work and deal with the work pressures, right? Because we're different and we don't have the same level of emotional intelligence. Guess where all of that goes? Right here.
Mm-hmm.
And while it's resting on my back, you yelling at me about the trash.
Or that upside down square.
Or upside down square. The dysfunction in that is we're not trained to tell you that we're carrying it so that you can have understanding. We're going to hold it because we're strong. And as a woman, you're going to be like, cool, he's doing this man thing. Everything must be cool. Normally, it's not cool most days. We just got to take it on it. I'm sorry about to say, we got to take it on the chin. That's why these dudes be stroking out and committing. They can't, like, we don't know how. We're getting better. 2021 therapy is starting to be more popular, and you're starting to hear men talk about things more. But just imagine having to carry that weight and not crying, not sharing it. And then the place that you feel that you're supposed to have the most safety is, why the hell didn't you? I know you took it out 98 times, but these last two, aren't you a real man?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, okay, that's what we doing. You know what? On Friday, I think I'm gonna hang out with the fellas. That's how we show our emotions.
We've talked about this before when you just said, okay, Friday, I'm going to go and have some drinks.
Yep.
That's why you go to Applebee's and you'll see the entire bar filled up with a bunch of men. I've seen it so many times. And they're sitting there with their wedding rings on and a beer in front of them watching the game. So, hey, Corinthia. So, in your coaching experience,
mm-hmm.
with your clients, of course, you're not going to give details, but have you seen that there are couples that both are wearing masks? They've been together past that honeymoon stage. They're still wearing a mask. They're still going to work, buying a mask. They're buying homes, property, wearing a mask. They're having multiple children, but they're both still wearing masks.
People wear masks for decades, right? And decades until they leave this earth, because the illusion of the happy home is worth more than actually dealing with the problem, right? So if I don't like to fight with you, even though we may have our little tussles every now and then, I'm going to try to figure out how to get you off my back. Even if I'm wrong, my one goal in life is to make you shut up so that I can breathe. Right or wrong, I'm going to do whatever it takes to shut you up. Now, that doesn't mean that you're a malicious person, but if the conflict makes me feel away, I gotta stop it. The correct thing to do is say, you know what, babe, I didn't like that conversation. What do we need to do to make sure that doesn't happen again? But a lot of men will be like, all right, you got it. I'm about to go downstairs. Whatever that thing is that you was mad at, let me do that now. I'm not even going to wait. Why? So you can what?
Corinthia said the illusion of the happy home is worth more than doing the work to fix it. Now this will preach.
Because the work to fix it requires you to be vulnerable.
Right.
You have to be vulnerable in order for you to share. In order for you to share, you have to have a safe space to share it. But if my only vulnerable activity with you is us fussing at each other, guess where I'm not going to share? It's not your fault. You're reacting as a human being, but I don't feel safe.
Right. So with my podcast, I love to talk about issues, but I also love to talk about solutions. Because we can talk, not you and I, but general, we can live our life and always, it's so easy to point out what we don't want, what we're not going to do. But you see some people it's a struggle for them to say what they want, but not what they want, what they really want. And when they do not, once again, we go back to that mask. So a solution that I am definitely solution based is to show up as your authentic self. That's man or woman. And you show up with your authentic self. You know, there is no mask. That's truly you just taking the mask off and you're asking for what you want. You are listening to what your spouse is telling you, your partner is telling you. And I'm a true believer, and I'm working on it. This is truly new to me, just truly being authentic. Can you add on any other solution based?
So here's the thing, right? And a lot of these things we learn the hard way. And that's why what I do and what you do is important, is because hopefully not only can we save people the heartache of having to go through some of this tumultuous stuff, but if you're in the point where you're already going through it, there is hope, right? Unless you're dealing with some egregious just craziness, there's hope. But here's the thing. I'm going to give you two versions of this. If you're out and you are single and you're on the dating market and you're trying to find someone, and let's say you meet that person and y'all vibing and whatever, the absolute most important thing for you to do, and we're talking about solutions, is let's say you listen to this show and you hear me talk about safe spaces. Well, if you know that you both need to have a safe space, then you have to lead the relationship knowing that we know the argument's going to come one day. We having fun right now, but one day, we've been together for 8 months, 9 months, or whatever. We know it's going to come one day. What are we going to be able to be prepared to do when that happens, honey?
Right.
Are you going to be the type of person, are you, like, you've been in relationships before, right? Yes. Okay, well, when you was in that relationship, when you argued, like, what was your reaction to the argument? Do you yell? Because I'm just trying to figure it out. And then you put the pieces together before you look at you can do the love language test. You can figure out things about each other. So when you get there, you can, like, I've talked to some people where they'll have like an object, like a pen or a pencil, and they'll say, okay, whenever we get into a point where we're not really listening to each other, I'm going to let you hold the pen. And whoever's holding the pen, the other person got to shut the hell up. Okay, now you've heard my point. Did you understand what I was saying? And then the other person gets the pen and you got to shut up. Because what we tend to do, and what I was very guilty of, is doing what I call all lives matter. If you put out a point, I'm going to say, but you did it too, and it was cool when you did it. Then that person's feelings go out the window, because it's not about the problem. It's about me reacting to you so that I can feel better.
Exactly. And that comes with emotional intelligence as well, right? Because let me back up a little. I love what you said. You're going to therapy, you're taking a love test. But before all of that, it is so imperative and paramount that you work on your inner self.
Yep.
Truly your inner self. So that when you do come together with your partner, it's not 50-50 and you're 100. No, you already step up. You're already whole. You're already at 100. You're already at 1,000,000%.
And the thing about that, the beautiful thing about, if you are ever able to get to that space, because a lot of people we're all a perpetual work in progress.
Absolutely.
When you get to a space of being self-aware, loving yourself, having a high self-esteem about yourself, when you get into a partnership or a relationship, you are now better served to tell that person who you are and what you need. But if you don't know what you need, you're winging it. So of course you're going to have arguments, because they don't even know who the hell you are, because you don't.
Exactly. And you're right. And you'll ask for what you want in a relationship, but deep down, you don't even know what you want. And if you do, you're still wearing your mask and not saying what you really want. So it's just all can be just a big lie. And the foundation of that relationship is truly on quicksand. It looks good, but it will sink. It may be a slow sink. It may take 50 years. I've seen it. May I read a comment from Corinthia? This was very interesting. She says, my husband and I shacked up pre-marriage. Life was wonderful. We didn't learn to embrace our vulnerabilities until marriage. And it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do.
Yep.
There it is.
And I talk about men a lot, but women have things, trauma. You have things that's happened before that don't allow you to fully open up. But what we do know is we want to feel good. We want the feels. We want to be with somebody. And just imagine two people that don't want to be vulnerable being married. Right? It's a lot of this going on because and the thing about it is just, in a lot of us are guilty of it. When we're backed into a corner, we feel like we backed into a corner in an argument. We're going to do something to make you hurt just like we do. Now this the person you love though. Now you got to hurt them back because you hurt.
And that goes with low emotional intelligence.
And then, you have the make-up sex and the next day you wake up and you're making the lunch for the kids and everything cool, but it's really not. Because it's still there. And like I always talk about 1,000,000 times on my show, just imagine stacking that for 10 years and just holding it. You know how not vulnerable you're going to be to the other person? You have to become a person that tries to avoid yourself from feeling that way because you feel like that other person that's who they are. And so it's not fair.
It is not fair for either parties. And that mask upon mask, and next thing you know, both of you are looking like mummies.
Because the true mask is this, and this may, whatever, elicit a feeling or a trigger for somebody, but the true mask is this. For all the stuff we talked about, the one truth that most of us are afraid to bring home is that I feel more comfortable in that peace outside the house than I do inside.
Can you repeat that for the people in the back?
I feel more comfortable outside the house than I do inside. And there's only one fundamental reason why that is true for a lot of people. Because when I'm outside, I don't have to wear the what?
Mask.
And how intoxicating is it to know that the world is loving on you for who you are, and at home, you can't be that. It's like living in jail.
It's like living in a jail with you cannot see.
Nothing. Yeah. And the thing about it is, most of the time that prison is a prison that you built around yourself. Because a lot of times the other spouse doesn't even know that you're dealing with that hurt. They'll react to you in a way that maybe they're reacting and maybe some trauma, whatever, but they don't realize that it's affecting you because you showing them all right, we good. And so they're going to continue to behave in the way that they're used to behaving because no one has ever put the alarm up to say, hold on, that hurt me. But that hurt me isn't going to come from a strong man. I'm telling you, you hurt me. We good. Go ahead. We good.
It's funny you said that.
But I'm going to tell you, with my marriage now, my ability to share how I feel, if I'm stressed out, if I'm depressed, the sky opens up when you're able to be free with that person. Because you'll still go through stuff, but that turnaround is way quicker because the respect is there and you're able to kind of move through it. But when you building up, because the only word I can come up with is I'm resenting you for making me feel like that 3 years ago. No, dudes we talk about women holding on to stuff for years. We hold on to stuff too. We be holding on to it. I know y'all know this. We be holding on. Be like, remember that one time you yelled at me? Yeah, I never got over that.
Yeah, let me tell you the story real quick. So I'm dating this man, and just say we got in an argument in, I don't know, 98. I swear we were at Burger King, and whatever the trigger was, 2 years later, he brought it up, and before I knew it, we were on the freeway, flying down, going home, and I really thought he was joking at first. It went over my head. I really thought he was joking, and 3 counties later, 100 miles per hour later, now we're at home, and I don't even know if I'm coming or going, and women do it
a lot
too,
of
but
times,
that
let
was
me tell
my
you something.
experience.
A lot of times, women unknowingly do things that will emasculate a man. And if we feel emasculated, most of the time you're not gonna hear me tell you that because I'm a man. Here's a couple of trigger words that will emasculate a man that you don't even realize that you're doing it.
Hold on.
Uh-huh.
Ladies, if you want to hear what these trigger words are, I want you to type yes in the comments or put yes, please. Hold on, let me type it in myself. I'm listening.
First thing is when you compare, right? When you compare what somebody else is doing, and you may do it subliminally, right? It could be about you. Well, my dad used to do this for my mom, or so-and-so husband took her to a restaurant. They're not going to outright say they did it and you're not. They're just going to make that little hint, but it really makes me feel like crap, right? The second thing is when you use these two words, real man.
Oh.
A real man would do this. Like you could be saying it out of anger. If you was a real man, you would do this. That makes our ego crush into a million little pieces, but we're not going to show you that. Because you're trying to get us to man up. But if you're getting me to man up, then that means I wasn't really a man to begin with. Get it?
Got it.
And it might be somebody that you've been with for a long time. So obviously you with him because you thought he was man enough to be with, right? Unless you want some dysfunctional stuff, right? We're not talking about dysfunctional craziness, narcissist, the domestic violence. I'm just talking about a regular Joe Blow relationship. You got with this dude because he was a man. So when you say a real man, then that automatically negates me from being one. I'm taking that to the heart. Because that means I'm a fake one, right?
Sounds
by
like
definition.
Ooh, Christina said, ooh, I'm guilty.
Yeah.
I'm quick to say, well, my daddy,
Yep.
No, mama.
Yep.
Ooh.
And you will never hear that it hurt. You won't hear it. But that's the things that we hold on to. And this is how, when you do it enough times, my behavior is going to make some slight changes because of that.
What will that look like?
It'll look like the patterns may change, the sex may change. Something's going to be a little off because when it happens enough times, like some men are able to compress it longer than others, but when it starts to come out, I don't see you as my beautiful bride anymore. I see you as the person that keeps emasculating me, and you don't even realize that you're doing it. And I'm not going to tell you because that requires me to be vulnerable and tell you about how I feel. Isn't that crazy?
I'm going to share something with you. Oh, I will share this. A family member of mine is in the mental health. She's a psychiatrist. I will say that. And I'll never forget. She told me this a long time ago. And she said, Ursula, this is what she's noticed with her clients, that when a woman has that slick mouth and that finger pointing and the emasculation on level 10 or 5 consistently, she's saying that it's not written in stone, but more often than not, that the men cheat because they do not want to go home and have sex with their mother. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So here's the thing. Let me give you some context to that, because that's where I was going to go next, right? If you're ever in a situation where you're yelling at a man, right? Because we're talking about, like, it could ride the lines of dysfunction, right? If you're yelling at a man because you're legitimately hurt, and we're not talking about fault or right or wrong, just the tone itself, right? When you're legitimately yelling at a man and he's not yelling at you back out of respect because he know he can't fight you for real. If he's quiet, you're hurting him. I need you to hear that. You are hurting him. You're not going to hear the words, but you are hurt. Sometimes the man will yell back, right? And sometimes the man just going to let you get it out and be like, all right. When he's doing that, that's retreat. You're hurting me. Okay? And I could be wrong, but the tone sounds like mommy. So if you keep doing that, I'm going to detach from you. And then you're going to wonder why I'm not like grabbing all on you like I used to and all that, because now I see you as an enemy combatant. So now I got to go outside the house just for me to breathe.
With the mask off.
Yeah, with the mask off, free as a bird, wind blowing in my face. Whew, I don't have to deal with that stress. Home's supposed to be your castle where you feel free. Well, damn it, I keep getting yelled at.
By mommy.
And I'm not saying that it leads to cheating, but that peace by any means necessary. If peace means being in the man cave with the door locked, that's what I'm going to do. If peace means going out and hanging out with the fellas longer and a lot more than my normal patterns over the past 5 years, and just I need to go out, I got to work late, all that, it comes from a place. But you know that this ain't a bad dude. This is a dude reacting to not being emotionally intelligent. It makes you do some stupid stuff.
Right. And just for my past listeners who have been on when Derrick has been on, we're not talking about Billy.
No, we ain't talking about Billy.
If you want to know who Billy is, you're going to have to go back into my season 1 or go on Derrick's podcast, Relationship Gumbo, and we discuss Billy deeply. Billy will always rear its ugly. I don't like Billy.
Yeah. And here's the thing. You want to catch this. If you consistently keep doing that to me, whether even if I'm in a relationship, you may be inadvertently creating a Billy within your relationship.
Right.
And that becomes the cheater.
Right. William morphing into Billy.
Yep. Because here's the thing. You can have an amazing dude. When you chop down, whether intentionally or not, when you chop down the essence of that man, he still inherently needs to feel like a man. You can't give that to him anymore because you're mommy. You could try, hey, let's work on it. You've been emasculating me for 2 years. Not really trying to hear that now. Sorry. I'm pretty much broken at this point. But I'm not gonna leave. We got kids. I'm not gonna leave. You cook good. I like the way that macaroni and cheese tastes. We got stuff to lose together. I'ma stay. But guess what? Now I may not be as verbose. I may just be like, all right, babe, I got it. Is that it? You good? I'm about to go down in the man cave.
Wow.
And I'm gonna be in my own little world. And then you're gonna be like, babe, it's 2 a.m. You still down there? Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Y'all ladies in the audience, y'all know I'm right.
It's quiet up in here. Is this mic on?
When you be like, you've been sitting in the driveway for 30 minutes, you good? Yeah, I'm good. I'll be in a minute.
If anyone, we're going to start wrapping it up, but if anyone has questions and you want to ask Derrick, this is the time right now. I really appreciate everyone who has been commenting. So while we're waiting on those comments to come in, Derrick, can you explain just how it looks for both people in the relationship, how it looks when they are not wearing the mask? They've thrown the mask away. They're breathing easy. What does that look like?
When you're in that state because inherently when you're not wearing masks and you are legitimately connected and you're like, you genuinely love each other, the connectivity is so strong because you don't have to hide anything. Right. The good, the bad, the ugly, you feel comfortable being in a safe space and saying, you know what, I know I'm supposed to do this, but I need to lay down. Mm-hmm. Then what you do when you share that way, the other party doesn't have to assume that you're not doing it because you just don't want to, or whatever. You got to now fill in the blanks. You're not hearing it from him. So now you got to make up what it could possibly be in your head. It's human.
Right.
Well, maybe he don't want to take the trash out. Now I'm mad because he don't want to take the trash out. He may just want to sit down and can I get the day off of me first? And then, and you like, right. But the trash was supposed to be taken out last night though. What are you doing? Like, what's the problem? A real man would take the trash out. Ooh, that just hurts with me saying that. But what it looks like is, if you consistently do what I call temperature checks, babe, I know you started a new job. I know your boss is on your butt. Are you okay? Is everything okay? I know you're going through a lot of stress. Is there anything that I can do to help you out and alleviate that until you get settled in? And then he then has the option to say, she understands me. Yeah, today was pretty rough. See how I just did that? You gave me instant comfort instead of me assuming that you don't understand what I'm going through. Mm-hmm. Because just like y'all like to be paid attention to, and he should know that I'm having a bad day. We're not going to tell you, but we want that too. Mm-hmm. We want understanding too. It just doesn't sound as verbose and emotional, but we want that too. And if we feel like you understand us, then it makes us relax.
Right.
It's not an easy road because there's a lot of men whose conditioning is pretty staunch. They just not. Why won't he talk to me? It's not about making him talk to you. It's about creating an environment that one day, if he decides, he feels comfortable. It's perpetual. Right. Sometimes it could just be you rubbing him on the shoulder. I know you had a bad day, and then walk away. You're not going to force it out of him. It makes it worse if he's that type of guy.
Right. Because the forcing that's counterproductive for sure.
Yep. That's how this works. And it's a chess game that you have to play, but it doesn't have to be hard if you start out knowing that the communication is essential and y'all need to talk about how this going to work. So when this happens, we got to tackle the problem and not each other. You lead with that. If you're already in a relationship and y'all have some issues, then somebody has to make a stand and say, look, the way this has been going, it's very hurtful. I know it hurts you. I know when I yell at you, I know it don't make you feel good. Can we talk this out and figure out a better way to engage each other? We might need to go see a therapist or a coach so that they can point out, because we are emotional creatures. I may not see it, but an outside party may be able to put the puzzle together because we're not leaving each other. We know we love each other, but this right here, it hurts.
Exactly. I love what you said about the temperature checks. It's always good to be proactive before. It's just like a car. You want to get your car checked up. You have a tune-up. You don't always go to the mechanic when something's wrong. You go to get a tune-up. And same thing, working on self and being your authentic self, loving yourself, self-validation. So when you do meet someone, your car is good. Same thing with therapy. It's good to go and do a check-in and get a professional check-in. Don't go to the mechanic when your car is literally on three wheels.
You got to do it when things are quiet, when y'all both have a level head. That's when you start working on how to make it better. You don't do it while y'all both just on fire and you like, oh, we need to just work it out. Nobody's really going to think with a clear head at that point because you're still pissed off and you're still hurt.
I call that trauma fog.
Yep.
It is. Yep. It's trauma fog at its best. You can see better when the days are sunny, or even if it's a nice rain outside, it's still visible, but that trauma fog is real. Yep. And no one is listening. No one is hearing. It's just truly a bunch of reacting and not responding.
And here's the because I know you at time. Here's the last point that you have to understand, men and women. When someone has to consistently wear a mask, whether it's emotional things that they do or physical things they do, by definition, if I can't share with you and you really want honesty out of me, but I feel like I can't share, I have to lie to you. I need you to catch that. I have to lie to you in order for me to maintain the mask that is protecting me. I have to lie. You know, they question y'all all, well, why did they lie? They shouldn't have felt like they had to lie. Yes, they did. They did have to feel like that. Whether it's self-imposed or not, that mask was not really, but they felt like it was keeping them safe from having to be vulnerable. You have to lie in order to keep that up. The mask in itself is a lie. Ooh. So why wouldn't the verbal and the physical lies not follow that? It's human. We do things to protect ourselves, but in order to do that, every part of our lives has to follow that same thing, or somebody's either going to find out that it's wrong, or you got to protect that vulnerability. The thing is nobody's saying open yourself up all the way, but a lot of us aren't giving any of it up. And you're supposed to be married.
Wow. Derrick, thank you for sharing tonight. Once again, you came through dropping gems as usual. Looking at the comments, it looks like you have said things that resonated. So you still have to come back. This doesn't count.
I ain't going nowhere. I'm here the whole 2021, 22, 23. Whenever you need me back, I'm here.
Yay! So before we get off, I'd like for you to tell everybody what Relationship Gumbo, what the website, what's on it, your coaching packages, all of that. Please share.
So if you want to follow, subscribe, or whatever the term is to get to all of my social media, go to relationshipgumbo.info, and there you will find that I do 101 coaching on dating, relationships. I do life coaching as well. I have an app that's a very small fee per month. Right now, it's $20 a month. You get in there and you get to do group coaching. And, you know, the topics are derived from the things you need. And you'll also be able to do, for that price, every week you get in a Q&A session where you'll be able to ask whatever you want. It doesn't have to be a topic. That right there is worth gold in itself. You get to have this supercomputer at your disposal. So I need for y'all to take advantage of that. And then I also have merch. Like I have not this t-shirt, because this is like the logo, unless you want the logo, but I got other little sayings and stuff, positive things. I have the merch, the group coaching, the 101, and the podcast. You can listen to the podcast everywhere. You got a Fire Stick, say Alexa, play podcast, Relationship Gumbo. It comes right up. Any device you have, Spotify, Apple, I'm everywhere. Pandora, everywhere. So that's it.
That's a lot. And that's what we need. It's all about healing. That's all. I'm truly all about healing. And you are a gift. You're saving relationships one podcast at a time.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's really about, and it speaks to your story too. We owe our community this information after we've been through the fire. Why would we want someone else to do that right behind? Like, it doesn't make sense for us not to share that information to the younger generation, to our peers. So having these platforms like your platform, healing people, getting people shift together, it's personal development. Like, we have to do this for ourselves, or we're going to be sitting at home dealing with the same crap every day for the rest of our lives. Who wants that when we're supposed to be out here happy?
Exactly. God didn't put us on this earth to be miserable. I just don't see that. It doesn't make sense to me. It used to, but it was that trauma fog. The clarity is here. Speaking of clarity, and with my clarity, I have also, as you know, and some of my social media friends, am now a certified life coach and personal development, as Derrick said. Same thing. And there's a few other certifications sprinkled up in there.
Don't be modest. She did that thing, y'all. Let me tell y'all a little secret about what she did. She put her nose in that information, and she went dark. Like, she was like, "Look, I'll be back, y'all, but I got some work to do." And I was like, "Hey, y'all, you okay over there?" She did that, and she came out with the certifications, and she ready to rock. So make sure y'all attach to her. I know a lot of y'all are on her page, but please, share this with your friends, family, or whatever, She doing the thing. When she held up all them certifications, I was like, okay, now I see why she was gone.
Yeah, I had to go dark 30 on you all. I'm like, I gotta get my shift and my shit together for real. And speaking of that, just COVID, just this whole COVID era it's been trying, but I can honestly say going in a deep dive with myself, like this is something that is great that came out of COVID that I can attach to COVID was finding my purpose, becoming this life coach, and I'm rolling now. So I do have a website. I will announce it. I'm still tweaking it, but it's coming. It's coming. And Derrick, I definitely want you to come back. Like I said, this tonight doesn't count. You guys still come back.
Oh, they all count. They all count. We
Okay.
good. We count all of them. All of the bonus episodes, everything counts.
Absolutely. This is bonus on steroids. So everyone, thank you for joining Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. Please look me up on all social media under the same name, Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. And make sure and tune in Monday, February 1st with Dr. Sandra Ford. You all will have to come and tune in so you'll see what kind of doctor she is. And I got some real good stuff simmering for February. That pot is boiling over, and I can't wait to take the lid off. You all have a good evening and take care. Thank you, Derrick.
No problem.